Hi everyone. So today I will be doing the Module 3 screencast for Constructivism. So what is Constructivism? It's a study on how people learn. So it states that people learn best through reflection of experiences. So not only having these experiences, but being able to reflect upon them, either within themselves or with discussions with other people, more so discussions. Also, students are the experts. So when it comes to constructivism in the classroom, students are the ones who are being knowledgeable experts, whereas the teacher is more so acting as a guide. The teacher is not telling the students what to learn. The students are kind of in charge, and the teacher's there to give guiding questions or just to lead them in the right direction. But overall, the students are the ones that are finding the knowledge and obtaining the knowledge. Also, students will be applying their existing knowledge to new experiences. So they're not coming into anything with no knowledge at all. They've experienced some sort of life. So when they experience new things, they're connecting this to their old existing knowledge, and they're asking, does this support or go against what I previously knew? If it supports it, then great. That's more backup. If it goes against it, sometimes they have to really think about which one's true, which one's false, what should I really think now? If it's too far out of their realm, then they just dismiss it and pretty much ignore that new information because it's just too much for their brain to kind of decide until they have more knowledge. Also, constructivism is big on the fact that knowledge is always changing. It's not going to just stop. You're always learning more. So Lev Vygotsky, how is he a constructivist? He developed the sociocultural theory of development, or theory of learning, which states that social interactions lead to cognition. So having these social interactions, whether they be with a person or even just through a video or through a book, this is how learning happens. He also stated that learning is the outcome of collaborative problem solving. So students working together to solve a problem is when they're going to learn the best. He also discusses zone of proximal development, or ZPD, which asks what can the student do alone. That's good to know because right past that is their zone of proximal development. So right outside what they can do alone is what the student can do with a little guidance from a more knowledgeable other, or MKO. It's gone on to discuss that a more knowledgeable other does not have to be an adult or a teacher. It can also be another student who knows more on the topic. My classroom pedagogy. Is my classroom pedagogy constructivist? So ways that I feel that it is. I try and do a lot of partner and group work, having them discuss, have them have different roles in order to learn. I also try and do a lot of think, pair, shares after I've given a lesson or asked a question. I try and ask a lot of guiding questions, especially during read alouds, so to get the students thinking and questioning what they're learning. I also try my best to link learning to students' personal experiences. So I know the other day we were learning about point of view, and I linked it to video games, and the students really understood it. They're like, okay, so if I'm watching like the interlude before, then this is this point of view. If I'm playing, then it's that point of view. Also, I try and build a care-centered classroom built on empathy and trust, which was discussed in one of the articles we read, that it is important to have this. It was either that or a video. It's important to have this because then the students are more comfortable sharing their experiences or giving their ideas. What revisions can I make? So a couple that I thought of just from the articles were meaningful projects and activities. So in the first article, it really talked about this, and I started thinking about when I was in middle school. It was, I believe, 6th or 7th grade. We were talking about trade markets, and my teacher had us do a market. So she had us bring in a product, and then we traded this product for other things that we wanted. So we had to learn to barter, and it's crazy because I still remember this activity to that day, and it was just really meaningful. Also, for the second article, it talked a lot about how you can connect it to math. They did the connection with the 3 little bears, and I just started thinking about the importance of using resources around me when I'm doing math. So having the kids count something in the classroom, or going outside and having them count the playground equipment and using chalk to do addition. So just using their outside world to kind of bring it in for the math aspect. So just connecting it to stuff that they know, especially for the younger kids. And then more use of language without expectations. So this third article went and talked about this. I think it's important to incorporate more free writes that have no grammatical expectations, so the students just write what they're thinking and get it on paper. And also it made me think about not correcting students when they make grammatical errors and speaking out loud, obviously not in speeches and something that they plan, but just sharing their ideas and thinking of ways to make students comfortable enough to do this. Also, I definitely still need to work on less telling and more guiding. So instead of telling the students this is the answer or correcting them when they're wrong, asking the rest of the class, what do we think? Does anyone have any other ideas? And just guiding them towards that right answer as opposed to getting frustrated and telling them the answer. And lastly, including more personal connection. So even though I try and do this in the lessons, I think it's important to build the lessons from the start around these personal connections. And then also using these ideas to connect it back to the real world. So starting with real world connection, doing the lesson, and then having them think about how else this can connect to the outside world. And yeah, that's all. Thank you.